Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Sessions.
Mr. Wagner, the issue is bigger than the technical matter we're discussing today, in my opinion. This is a huge, huge issue. I was United States Attorney when President Reagan was elected in the early 80s. Half the high school seniors in America had used an illegal drug. That over 12, 15 years went to less than half that, less than 25%. Would you say that was an advantage, a health advantage to young people in America, that drug use declined?
I will stipulate that certainly less drug use is better.
All right. What about marijuana legalization in Colorado? Did you take a public position on that?
I do not take public positions on political issues. I think generally that's a bad policy for U.S. attorneys. We try to maintain our role as the enforcers of law, not the makers.
There. I know the tension on that. But in the past, U.S. attorneys, the drug czar, has opposed it. Does President Obama oppose states adopting legalization of marijuana?
I don't know exactly what positions he's taken with respect to Colorado and Washington.
That's a terrible comment. That the United States attorney that works for the President of the United States does not know whether he opposes or favors legalization of marijuana. He certainly has said some things that indicate he thinks it's a very little problem. But these data show that it is. So you got this huge increase in marijuana-related emergency room visits. This is as obvious as night following day. You make more marijuana, more available. You basically say it's not very dangerous and that young people have a right to participate with it, and others, older people do too. You're going to have more problems, wouldn't you agree?
I certainly think that increases in marijuana use are bad, and for public health, I totally agree with that. And I think there's been an increase recently. Certainly here out in Sacramento, my district, our focus is on opioid and heroin increase, which has been quite an unfortunate upturn in overdose prescription pills. I know in the Sacramento area, just in the last 10 days, we've had 9 people die from fentanyl overdoses, and that's something which we are.
Heroin or just fentanyl?
No, not heroin. They are apparently prescription drugs that have been laced with fentanyl, and that is something that we've been spending sort of 24/7 the last
huge
2
issue,
weeks.
But just from my experience in dealing with this, we need to set a nationwide understanding about the problem. This is very real. Are you aware that the American Medical Association just last year issued a report that hammered this idea that marijuana is not dangerous, and they were particularly concerned about the mental impacts it has on young people? Are you familiar with that?
I am.
Do you have any doubt about that?
I don't have any doubt about that, Your Honor.
Did the drug czar of the United States of America make any express any opinion to Colorado about the possible dangerous impacts of marijuana legalization in Colorado?
I know the drug czar has been quite articulate about some of the dangers associated with marijuana. In fact, Mr. Botticelli, when he was just before he became drug czar, came out to California with us and participated in some marijuana enforcement operations, where we went up into the North State, flew over some very large marijuana grows in the course of our operation. So I know he's been quite committed to supporting us. In fact, he supported an expansion of the HIDA to do more enforcement in our district on marijuana.
Well, what I want to just say to you and to those who might be listening is it's far more important than just the details of whether federal prosecutors start prosecuting marijuana cases in Colorado. Colorado was one of the leading states that started the movement to suggest that marijuana is not dangerous. And we're going to find it, in my opinion, ripple throughout the entire American citizenry, and we're going to see more marijuana use, and it's not going to be good. We're going to see more other drug use, illegal drug use also, which is damaging. I mean, we need grown-ups in charge in Washington to say marijuana is not the kind of thing that ought to be legalized. It ought not to be minimized, that it's in fact a very real danger. You can see the accidents, traffic deaths related to marijuana jumped 20%. These are the kind of things that we're going to see throughout the country, and you'll see cocaine and heroin increase more than it would have, I think, had we not talked about it. Well, is there any sense that Colorado might reevaluate what they've done?
I know that there is a lot of discussion back and forth between the U.S. Attorney's Office and the state authorities in Colorado about issues that we're seeing, issues that we're concerned about, and I understand that the state authorities have been receptive to our concerns. I don't know the details of what they're doing about them, but citing some of the data that Senator Grassley presented earlier, we're concerned about that data, and we're talking to Colorado about it. I know the same is true in California.
I hope you'll speak out. I mean, you're able to, as a citizen of Colorado, to say you think this is dangerous. I work with it every day. I see the danger and damage it does, and I think the president needs to speak out. I think one of his great failures, it's been obvious to me, his lax treatment and comments on marijuana. It's been obvious. It reverses 20 years almost of hostility to drugs. It begun really when Nancy Reagan started the Just Say No program. I made that mention when she passed away. It was a great accomplishment. We moved this country from 50% of high school seniors using a drug, marijuana or other drug, to less than half that. Lives were saved. Young people's futures were saved. And if we go back into this path, we're going to regret it. And you got to have leadership from the top. And I think the drug czar and the DEA leadership understand this. But I'm not sure the president does, and not sure the message is getting down to the prosecutors. Mr. Chairman, thank you for hosting this. You've been very astute on this issue for many, many years. You've led this committee, this drug caucus, for many, many years. We made tremendous progress. And just I can't tell you how concerning it is for me emotionally and personally to see the possibility that we would reverse the progress that we've made and let it slip away from us. Lives will be impacted. Families will be broken up. Children will be damaged because of the difficulties their parents have. And people may be psychologically impacted the rest of their lives with marijuana. And if they go on to more serious drugs, which tends to happen, you can deny it if you want to, but it tends to happen, there'll be even greater causes.
I can assure you that we're very, I'm a citizen of California, and certainly out there, we're very aggressively prosecuting narcotics cases. I had a press conference last week in a interstate narcotics trafficking case. We prosecuted almost 90 people on marijuana cases in my office last year, and one of my assistant U.S. attorneys in February received the National Prosecutor of the Year award from the HIDA National Association at their national conference here in Washington for her work in marijuana prosecution. So we are very committed to doing those cases, and we'll continue to do that.
Thank you. I would just comment that as I was talking to somebody who's experiencing this recently, it was a prevention movement that really was so positive, and it led to this decline. The creating of knowledge that this drug is dangerous, you cannot play with it, it's not funny, it's not something to laugh about, and trying to send that message with clarity that good people don't smoke marijuana. And the result of that is to give that away and make it socially acceptable creates the demand, increased demand that results in people being addicted or impacted adversely. I just hope that we can get our thoughts together on it. I believe Department of Justice needs to be clearer. I believe the president really needs to reassert some leadership on this. I think it's really serious.
Ms. Grover, I just have one question.